Welcome to a real week in my kitchen. I'm a mom to 4 and I love cooking from scratch. Today I'm going to share with you some of the meals I'm making this week and some cooking tips to make your life in the kitchen more enjoyable. After a busy day, cooking is a great way to unwind, get creative, and remind yourself of the simplest joys in life that mean the most. I made pumpkin dark chocolate sourdough cookies with freshly milled flour, and they were the best cookies ever. I also made a kid-friendly harissa paste for delicious chicken bowls, and the easiest bread machine recipe for a simple sandwich loaf with freshly milled flour. We go through bread so fast, so it's nice to have an easy recipe that comes together quickly. This was a delicious week with lots of new ideas to add to your menu. So I hope you can cozy up and enjoy a moment for yourself to relax and recharge before you need to take on your work for the day, because I think you deserve it. Welcome to our Sunday afternoon. I have some things I'm about to get started in the kitchen here, but first the outdoors was calling my name. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna make some harissa paste. I'm starting with dried ancho chili peppers. These are actually not spicy, so don't be alarmed if you don't like spicy food. It honestly just has a lot of flavor. So first I'm soaking these chili peppers in hot water for about 30 minutes while I do some other things. I recently bought a whole bag of peeled garlic from Costco and pulsed it in my food processor and then froze it flat. And now I'm taking them out and breaking them up, and I'm going to put them in containers and have them in the freezer in individual portions so that I can use them for cooking without having to always peel and mince garlic. I used a dough scraper to make indentations in the garlic before I froze it, and that really helped me to separate it out into little portions. The base for my harissa paste is going to be a 12-ounce jar of roasted red peppers that I'm going to drain and try and squeeze the juice out of. My goal for this recipe was to create a flavorful harissa paste that is kid-friendly. So I used a lot of roasted red pepper. I also added 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And for the spices, I did a teaspoon of fennel. You can also use caraway. And then I did 2 teaspoons of ground coriander, 4 cloves of garlic, 2 teaspoons of cumin, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, some salt to taste, no cayenne pepper to keep it mild, and then I have about 2 ounces of dried ancho chili peppers here, and they're finished soaking, so I'm just going to remove the stems and the seeds and add those to the food processor. You can use other dried chili peppers as well that are probably spicier, but I really liked the ancho chili pepper for its mild but also rich flavor. While your food processor is running, I like to drizzle in 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil until you have this beautiful, thick harissa paste. My plan for this is to make a harissa chicken bowl. Basically, I want to make like a Greek-inspired bowl with lots of flavor, marinate the chicken, add lots of veggies and a sauce, and so that's why I'm making this. I forgot I wanted to add lemon juice to this, so I'm adding in about 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice and just mix that together. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator and I'll use this for marinating the chicken once I'm ready for that. I need to get the chicken out, but honestly, I think I just made the best thing ever. That harissa paste is delicious. It has flavor, it's not too spicy, and I'm excited to use it for all sorts of marinating purposes and dressings and things like that. There's been so many times I've seen recipes with harissa in it, but because I didn't have harissa, I just avoided it, but now I'm gonna try them. It's been a minute since you've seen the bread machine on this channel. I used to use it all the time, but when I got my other mixer, I started using that more. But now that it's colder, I've pulled my bread machine back out and I'm using it for single batches of sandwich bread because it's so convenient and so fast. The recipe is on the screen here for this very basic sandwich loaf using freshly milled flour. Add the ingredients to the bread machine in the order that they're listed. And then I have a KBS bread machine and I select option 12, which basically just mixes and rises the dough over the course of about 2 hours. So it mixes the dough more than once. So it kind of kneads it and then the dough rises and then it mixes it again for a second rise. And then by the end of the cycle, you'll have a fully risen dough and then you can put it on the counter, shape it, place it in a loaf pan. I like to oil my loaf pans with some avocado oil and then I'll bake that later. For the marinade here, I'm doing a tablespoon of honey and a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce and a tablespoon of olive oil and then 2 tablespoons of that Harissa paste. Then add a half teaspoon of salt and a tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, and this is your marinade. I used 4 large chicken breasts and cut them up into bite-sized pieces, and this was a good amount of marinade to coat all of that chicken. Go ahead and get that all mixed up and then cover it up with a plate and put it in the fridge until you're ready to cook it. Now I'm gonna make a dressing to pour over the bowl I'm gonna make. So I have about a half cup of homemade mayo in this jar. I'm adding 2 heaping tablespoons of that Harissa paste and 2 teaspoons of lemon juice and then 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. Then add a tablespoon of honey. I was almost out, so it took a while for this to come out. Add a half teaspoon of salt and then 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Grate 3 cloves of garlic into the jar. Then mix that all together. You're gonna have this beautiful dressing. I'm just gonna taste it and see if it needs anything extra. And I decided that it needed a little more honey and a little more red wine vinegar. I added about a half tablespoon extra of both those ingredients. But this was absolutely delicious. I'm gonna have the full recipe for this dressing and the marinade, the Harissa paste, and everything on the blog. So I'll leave a link in the description for that. Yum. That's perfect. This can go in the refrigerator and I'll come back to it later. You guys, can you sweep up this patio here? Blower? You want to use the blower? Can you guys blow off the patio and all the dirt? I want to do it. You can do some of it. Felicity will take a turn too. She's going to get it.
I'm going to go right quick.
Wow. Can't believe how quickly my bread rose. I can see that. The question I always struggle with is if I should do a little slit in the middle so that it can have more room to expand. I don't want it to proof too much over the top of the pan. Or do I? No, I don't think I do. I decided to coat the top in some butter to keep the crust nice and soft. And I'm gonna bake it at 350 for about 35 minutes. Giving my bread a little massage. Let's check the temperature. All right, it's ready. It is an absolutely stunning day. I don't know if it's coming off through my video or not, but it's 61 degrees. There's a light breeze coming in, the sun is shining. The fall leaves are on full display right now. and I'm just soaking it all in. This is our Sunday afternoon. We went to church really early this morning, and so we've had this entire day. My kids cleaned the car and washed the car. They had the hose out and soap out. We were throwing away trash. I organized in the basement a little bit. We're just having kind of like an awesome Sunday. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm gonna take this rice and give it a new life. Yesterday, I kind of overcooked it with too much water, so it's kind of mushy and not ideal. So since we're having mostly like a vegetable bowl tonight with chicken, the rice is gonna be more of a garnish. So I'm gonna make crispy rice and we're gonna mix it in with the veggies. So to do that, you just take your rice, coat it in some olive oil, and I'm gonna mix it all up in a second. Just wanna kind of get it going here. Okay. I thought I would just season it with a little bit of cumin, garlic powder, and onion powder.
Right.
A little more olive oil. Okay, that's gonna go in the oven once the bread is done.
Rice crispy?
I'm making the rice crispy.
So are you making the Rice crispy?
It's not Rice Krispie treats, it's just crispy rice.
We can make a whole
My bread turned out amazing, and now I'm gonna stick my rice in the oven at 350 for about 25 minutes, and I'll flip it halfway just until it looks a bit toasty. And I'm also gonna add some butter on top of this bread just to soften it and add some extra flavor. Now I'm preparing a bunch of veggies to go with dinner. This is a Greek-inspired meal, so I have cucumbers, red peppers, I also have feta and black olives and pickled red onions out. And I'm gonna throw this all together in a bowl with that sauce and the chicken. I'm also cooking some extra rice to really round out this meal. I think bowl food, so basically food that you can eat in a big bowl with a fork, is super fun, and you can customize it and add different sauces, different proteins, different grains, different veggies, and just make whatever you want. So now my chicken is done marinating. I'm gonna take it out. I'm actually gonna cook up just a small batch of this in my toaster oven here because I actually want to keep some of this chicken in the refrigerator to have tomorrow night. So this will continue marinating, and I have chicken ready to go for dinner tomorrow. I'm cooking this at 375 for about 15 minutes until it looks done. This little Typhur countertop oven does a great job at adding that crisp to the outside of chicken while keeping it juicy. We'll talk more about Typhur in a minute because they are sponsoring this video, which I'm so thankful for. But my chicken turned out beautiful. Now that our protein is finished, we can go ahead and build our bowl. So I'm starting off with a lot of veggies, and I'm adding that crispy rice, and I do have some more rice cooking in a pot, which I'm actually gonna add. So we have some extra carbs for this meal. Just gonna pile on the protein, add on some pickled red onions, feta, olives, all the delicious condiments, and then of course we'll top it with sauce. This is a beautiful Harissa chicken bowl that has tons of flavor. You should definitely try this. I seem to be dropping things a lot today. I'm gonna drizzle that sauce on top. I ended up adding extra harissa paste, extra feta, and extra sauce because I just love lots of flavor in my food. And this is a lovely dinner. You can customize it for the kids. Some of them didn't obviously want as much veggies, so we did a little bit more rice and chicken with a little bit of olives and feta and lettuce, but you know, not like a full-on salad. But this is a great meal to add to your arsenal, and I left a link for the recipe, which is on my blog. Now I want to take a minute to tell you about my Typhur countertop oven, which I have been loving. Some of you have been asking about this toaster oven back here, so I wanted to go ahead and tell you all about it. And thank you, Typhur, for sponsoring this video. This Typhur toaster oven is fast, reliable, efficient, and it doubles up with my main oven so I can do multiple cooking tasks at once. Especially when I'm making big meals like for Thanksgiving, I often need to put both these ovens to use. It's also the world's first countertop oven and air fryer with a built-in wireless thermometer, which makes home cooking so much easier with automated precision. The oven tracks your food's core temperature in real time and shuts off automatically when it reaches perfect doneness. That's actually one of the biggest reasons why I love my Typhur oven, is because I can put something in there to roast and then go take a shower, go work out, run an errand, and the oven is gonna shut down on its own and I can come back to it later. The thermometer is a really useful addition for this oven. One of my favorite recipes is to make our own deli meat. So I'll get a top round roast and then just salt and pepper it really well, stick the thermometer right in there, and then the oven has its own settings for beef, and I just set it to medium rare. You can choose how you want it done and then just press start, and it's gonna track the temperature of the roast in real time and shut off when it's done. I take that roast out, tent it with some foil for about 15 minutes before cutting it, and then I transfer that to a container, and we have deli meat for sandwiches throughout the week. It also has an air fryer function, which cooks chicken nice and crispy on the outside, but still juicy on the inside. That crisp. My favorite way to use this oven is for roasting veggies really quickly and for quick chicken dinners. This little oven speeds up dinner prep and gives you more flexibility in your cooking. We use it for toasting sandwiches, baking cookies, air frying chicken, roasting veggies. I've even baked loaves of bread in it, and they turned out great. Because it's a smaller oven, I usually set the temperature a little bit lower than I do in my main oven because it holds heat so efficiently. Also, if you have something that you don't want to get too dark or develop too much caramelization, maybe like a loaf of bread, I would suggest near the end just tenting it with some foil and it will be perfect. Last but not least, Typhur is currently offering 10% off for my viewers if you use the code christinesnotebook. So I left a link in the description. Go ahead and check them out. Moving on now, I'm grinding some fresh flour right now. I'm about to have a bit of a baking day. It's another absolutely stunning fall day, and I'm in the mood for some cozy bread baking and a slow cooker meal. I'm going to show you how I make the most delicious sandwich buns with both sourdough and yeast and freshly milled flour using the bread machine. I know that's a lot of different things, but it just comes together so easily and it's so delicious. So into the bread machine bowl, I'm doing 230 grams of warm water. Then add 28 grams of melted butter or coconut oil, 100 grams of bubbly sourdough starter or discard, although bubbly is preferred, 1 whole egg, 50 grams of sugar, which is about 3 tablespoons, and 450 grams of freshly milled hard red wheat flour. Then add 9 grams of sea salt and 6 grams of yeast, which is about 2 teaspoons. And you want those to go right on top of the flour. Then just take your bread machine bowl, put it right into the bread machine. I have a KBS machine, and I'm going to select option 12, which is just going to mix it a couple of times and rise the dough. And it's about a 2-hour cycle, and it's going to allow that bread to ferment. I love how simple this is. The bread machine's gonna do most of the work for me. It's gonna knead it and mix it. It does a beautiful job, and I'm just gonna walk away and move on to other things. So I'm not done yet. I'm also gonna make 2 loaves of soft sandwich bread. This is a new recipe that I'm trying out. I've been testing recipes and searching for that perfect sandwich bread recipe that I make again and again. I feel like I make a new one every time I make bread. I don't know why. I think I'm just always curious about what else is out there. But I will post the ingredients for this one that I made right here on the screen if you want to try it out. And everything's going, all the wet ingredients are going in the mixer. And then I'll add the flour into it while the mixer's on and let it knead for about 15 minutes. After that, I'm going to turn the mixer off and then let it rest for about 30 to 45 minutes. That's called the autolyse. And then I'll add the yeast and start kneading it again. I'm making slow cooker French dip sandwiches tonight. I prepared this early in the morning because it needs 10 hours to cook on low, but my house smells amazing. It's going to be so delicious. And this is my bread machine working for the buns that we'll use for those sandwiches. This season has a way of really calming me down, and I'm trying to embrace that. I'm trying to get to bed earlier, especially now that the evenings are darker, and just the beauty all around makes me really feel like I need to slow down, spend some more time in prayer, contemplation, spend some more time with my kids, and I'm just really working on those things right now. I've always thought that bread baking is very therapeutic and meditative. Something about it just brings you back to nature. I love the slowness of it. I love seeing the bread develop, and then of course the finished product. And then the fact that we can share it with our family and just have this really nourishing, delicious food that kind of feeds your soul as well. So bread baking was my first love when I got into cooking from scratch, and I didn't look back. This bread has been kneading for a bit, so I'm checking to see if it passes the window pane test. You just grab some of the dough and stretch it up, and if you see light coming through before it breaks, then you know you're good to go. I'm going to oil this bowl with some avocado oil, and then I'm just going to put it in there and try and shape it into a ball. It's a pretty sticky dough, so you can even spray your hands with some oil, and that helps. But I'm going to cover this up, set it to the side, and let it rise until it's nearly doubled in size. It's colder in my kitchen, so this is going to be a slower process, but that's actually what I'm going for here. This is a yeasted bread, but I included sourdough starter, and I did less yeast than I normally would because I want this to slowly develop flavor and not rise too quickly. My sandwich buns, on the other hand, rose super fast, which is usually what happens when it's in the bread machine because it's nice and warm in there. But these are ready to be shaped. I love how quick bread comes together when I use the bread machine, and somehow the gluten is fully developed. It's honestly a mystery to me how well it works. And so I'm going to divide this into 8 separate pieces and try and shape them into sort of oval / small hoagie shaped buns. And we're going to use that to stuff them with meat and cheese and dip those sandwiches in some delicious sauce, and that's going to be dinner. A lot of people ask me, they say they don't have a mill, they don't have any wheat berries to grind into flour, and they're not prepared to dive into that yet, and I totally understand. It takes time. So you can use all-purpose flour. The main difference is that if you're using freshly milled flour, you end up using more flour. So anytime you sub out for all-purpose flour, I would suggest starting with maybe a 1/4 cup less, depending on the recipe, and just see how that goes. I use mostly freshly milled flour because I believe in it. I believe in the health benefits of it. I believe it's worthwhile to do so. And so I make the effort to do it. I'm going to let this rise one more time before baking. Now I'm testing a recipe here for sourdough pumpkin chocolate chip cookies, and I'm using freshly milled hard red wheat for these. One way I'm getting my sourdough starter to ferment a little faster in this colder weather is I stuck it in this cabinet, and this is where I keep my toaster. And every once in a while, I'll just turn the toaster on, just let it go once, and then I'll keep these doors shut, and it makes this whole area nice and warm. And that just speeds up the fermentation so I can use it sooner. First, you're going to take 160 grams of pumpkin puree, put it in a bowl, and add a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and a pinch of cloves. Mix that up and take it over to a saucepan. Add a teaspoon of butter. Get that all melted and then add in your pumpkin puree. You just want to get this to evaporate some of the water. So just cook it until it reduces down and becomes a darker color. Keep it around medium heat and don't leave your pot because you definitely don't want to burn this. And once it becomes thicker and darker, you can set it back in that bowl and let it cool down completely. This is going to help add that pumpkin flavor to your cookie and keeping it nice and fudgy and chewy instead of cakey, which is my preference. My sandwich bread is ready to be shaped now, so I'm going to divide it into two and then shape them each into a sandwich loaf, get it in a pan, and let it rise again before I bake it. Try to press the air bubbles out here, get it nice and flat like a rectangle, and then this is how I like to shape it into a sandwich loaf. You want the top to be smooth with lots of tension so that it holds its shape nicely. Now I'm going to get started on these cookies. I'm looking for my 3/4 cup measuring cup and cannot find it, so I'm going to use a 1/4 cup and just do that 3 times. So you want 3/4 cup of brown sugar packed into the mixing bowl. And then you're also going to do 3/4 cup of sugar. That's kind of hard to say. 3/4 cups of each one, brown sugar, and I'm using organic granulated cane sugar. It's kind of a coarser grain, so if you have a finer grain, this may end up being a little sweeter. And then I'm adding 2 sticks of salted butter. I know most people do unsalted butter, but I like the extra salt. And just cream that together until it's nice and creamy. Add 1 egg and 1 egg yolk. I'm just cracking it into the sink and catching the yolk in my hand. 2 teaspoons of vanilla bean paste or vanilla extract. A 1/2 cup of bubbly sourdough starter or discard. And then your pumpkin puree that you made earlier. This is so pretty. This is definitely the prettiest cookie batter I've ever made. Then you're gonna add 420 grams of freshly milled hard red wheat flour.
How's school?
You're making pumpkin cookies.
I'm making cookies. That's right. How'd you know about that?
That's cool.
Nice.
Mom,
Mm-hmm.
do you know they're gonna stop making pennies in 2024?
For real?
Yeah. So,
Because they're kind of useless.
They're tired of losing pennies and couches?
can I have some? Mom.
You want 255 grams of chocolate. I'm doing a mix of dark chocolate that I've chopped up and semi-sweet chocolate chips because I only had a little bit of dark chocolate. I would have used a little more than that. I really loved the addition of those dark chocolate chunks, but I do think having a mix of the two is a great balance.
Perfection. This might be the best cookie I've ever made. Smells amazing, tastes amazing, but to be determined. I'm gonna go put this in the refrigerator and let it chill for 2 hours.
Time to get this dinner going, so I'm brushing the top of my buns with some egg wash, and then I'm gonna stick those in the oven at 350 for about 17 minutes until they look golden and finished. I had just enough time to get these baked before I had to head out the door to pick up one of my kids, but these are ready to go. The top got a little dark on this one and the bottom was a little light, so I might put that in the oven a little lower next time. And now we're all home and together and ready to eat dinner. My daughter was starving. She just came back from swim and this dinner is ready for us. This is a delicious recipe. It's on my website for French dip sandwiches. So easy to put together. The meat just falls apart. You can serve this on a bun with some cheese. I like to use provolone or a white cheddar, just any cheese that you like. And then you can scoop up that sauce that's in the slow cooker and dip your sandwich in it, and it's so delicious. We love it so much. It's an au jus sauce, so it's kind of like a broth, but it's super full of flavor, salty and delicious. The buns turned out great. I'm gonna put the recipe for this on my blog as well for you to check out. And I hope you guys enjoyed this meal inspiration. It was an easy one, and it's nice to have lots of ideas for busy nights, especially on a night like this when we came home and dinner was just ready. I mean, yeah, I did spend a lot of time in the kitchen that day making bread, but if I only made the buns and not the cookies or the sandwich bread, this really would have been a very simple meal preparation for the day.
Now I just need to collect my family, get them at the table, and then we can eat. But my oven is preheating again. And my bread is fully risen. Wow, that looks amazing.
Color's ready.
The oven's ready.
Ready still.
Okay, I'm gonna bake that at 350 for about 35 minutes.
I'm gonna go ahead and bake a few of these cookies tonight, and the rest I'll do tomorrow. The dough has been chilling, so it's nice and cold, which is just the way I want it. And I'm using a large cookie scoop and making just large balls of dough here, and I'll see how those turn out. I'm gonna let these cool on a cooling rack, but also on a towel because it helps keep the crust from becoming hard. I topped these with flaky sea salt and also pressed them down a little bit with a spatula. This just keeps them nice and fudgy and dense instead of cakey. And I can tell you right now that these cookies turned out heavenly. There are a few things I did that made them so good. One, if you chill the dough, it just improves it. And the longer you chill it, the better it gets. So I baked the rest of the dough the next day, and I think they were even better. Because there is sourdough in it, I think it develops more flavor kind of as it sits, so you can maybe leave it in the fridge for a couple of days. And then you want to bake it just at 350 for 13 minutes, and that's it. And then I press it down so it's fudgy. And then if you wait until the next day, once it's fully set, fully cooled, it's even better. These are amazing, and the recipe is on my blog.
All right, so first of all, sandwich bread looks amazing. It's soft. I don't want to cut into it yet because it's still warm, but I can tell that it's perfect, and I will update you tomorrow. And then, second thing, this dinner is one of my all-time favorites. It's one of the easiest things that you can make to feed your family, and everyone will be happy. It requires almost no effort on your part. And it just gives you that feeling of home cooking. And if you make these homemade buns that I made today, which, you know, are a little bit of effort, I will say the bread machine makes it so much easier, really pretty hands-off. So I know it requires purchasing a bread machine. I have a mixer and a bread machine, and I love having both. I know that's a little bit extra, but I guess I'm a little bit extra. And lastly, well, the buns turned out really good. Lastly, you girls need to try this. Oh my goodness. Come grab one. Good, right? It's like really decadent, but it has like a pumpkin, slight spice flavor, not too much. The pumpkin is like just enough. I'm happy.
The next morning, I cut into this sandwich bread. Well, I actually saw that someone else had already cut into it. My husband was up early, and I guess he got into it first, and it was really soft. My kids loved it. It was great for making sandwiches. I will say it became a little bit crumbly, especially as time went on. So as I'm cutting it, there were a lot of crumbs. And even like when I toasted it, there were a lot of crumbs coming off, which I'm not used to. And I'm not exactly sure what's causing that. So I don't know if this is the one for me, but it was fun to make it. And it's a great solid sandwich bread recipe. Moving into another day here, I have another fun dinner recipe to share with you.
But some just grow.
Today's been kind of a stressful afternoon. We got stuck in a lot of traffic. I had a really busy day, but it's time to cook dinner, which is actually something I look forward to. I'm gonna go ahead and light a candle, and I'm making a dish that a subscriber told me about. She's actually a personal chef. So I asked her, like, what is one of your favorite dishes that you make for people? And she sent me this recipe. So I'm gonna make it with you guys tonight, and hopefully she's watching. So shout out to Tony. If you're watching, I hope you are. I'm gonna go ahead and make this crispy gochujang panko chicken. Honestly, I'm not sure what it's called, I forget, but here's the recipe. That's what it's called, that's what it looks like, and I'll leave a link in the description.
I'm gonna wash my rice first, so I'm just gonna swish some water around in the pot and dump it out, and do that a couple of times. There's some debate about whether you should rinse your rice or not. I think you could do it either way. It's more of a personal preference. For the dressing I'm gonna make, I need a lot of mayo. I don't have any right now, so I'm gonna make some mayo first. I did a whole egg in a mason jar and let it come to room temperature. Added some Dijon mustard, a splash of apple cider vinegar, and 3/4 cup of avocado oil. Using an immersion blender, start at the bottom and work your way up, and you'll have mayo almost instantly. For the dressing, you want 3/4 cup of mayo. I didn't use the full amount because I wanted to have some leftover mayo. And then add in a 1/2 cup of buttermilk. Then add 2 tablespoons of seasoned rice vinegar. Two tablespoons of gochujang sauce. 2 teaspoons of finely grated ginger. One and a half teaspoons of onion powder. 1 teaspoon of toasted sesame seed oil. And 2 cloves of garlic grated. And then I added about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt to taste. This is your dressing that you'll use in the marinade and also on the salad. For the cabbage slaw, you want to pour about a 1/2 cup of dressing into a bowl and then chop up a 1/4 head of red cabbage and slice it thinly.
This is going in the fridge. Really good. Yummy. Okay. Do we need to turn this on? I don't know. I'm always torn about the lighting here because I don't like how this light gives off a blue color. I like my light bulbs to be on the warmer side. So I've considered changing the light bulbs in here, but I don't know if I'll ever get around to it. 1 stick of butter is going in the pan. The recipe calls for unsalted butter. I only have salted. So I'm probably just gonna add a little less salt in the recipe. When this butter begins to foam, I'm gonna add 2 cups of panko breadcrumbs and what else? Oh, and a 1/4 cup of raw sesame seeds, which I think I have. I might only have toasted. Oh, okay. It looks like it's about a 1/4 cup. We'll do that.
Cook for 5 to 7 minutes on medium heat, tossing often until you have a crispy golden color. Into a dish, you're gonna add a tablespoon of honey, 1 whole egg, and a 1/4 cup of that dressing. Whisk it together, and we're gonna end up dredging our chicken in this mixture, and then allowing the excess to drip off. And then we're gonna put it in the panko breadcrumbs, press those breadcrumbs into the chicken to make a crust, and then add it to a sheet pan that has a wire rack on it or on an air fryer basket tray.
Okay, so I just want to explain my process for a minute before I start. So this Typhur oven comes with an air frying rack, and it comes with this pan that you can roast meat on, or just basically like a sheet pan. I'm actually gonna put this sheet pan cover with foil on the bottom of the oven, and then I'm gonna cook the chicken above it on this one. That way it'll catch any drippings, and there'll still be a lot of air circulation for the chicken, so it should be nice and crisp. I'm gonna add just a little bit of oil to this so that it doesn't stick, and I think that will turn out great. So my panko breadcrumbs are cooling. They're basically, yeah, these are ready, and now I'm gonna get going here. All right, I'm so excited about this recipe. Let's see if I can do this without making a big mess. First, we're gonna dip it in this, then we're going to let the excess come off, and then I'm going to put it in here and press it down. These panko breadcrumbs are still a little hot, but I'm just gonna deal with it. Oh, I forgot to spray my pan. Looks amazing. All right, now I gotta wash my hands so I can zoom in my camera lens so you can see close up.
So anytime you prepare chicken in this way, it's gonna be extra steps, extra mess, extra dishes, but it turns out so good. And my kids told me that this was the most delicious chicken they've ever had. And I don't know if that's true, but they are hard to please. So the fact that they loved this made me think I need to make it more often. I also thought of making cornflake crusted chicken tenders because I have leftover cornflakes from Thanksgiving, and I thought I could do something similar and see how they like that. I think they would love it. So something to think about, something I'm gonna make in the future for sure. I'm gonna fill up my air fryer basket, and I'll still have some chicken left over. So I'm gonna do 2 batches of this. But some of the chicken I'm just gonna fry in a skillet because my husband has been under the weather, and anytime he's sick, he's more sensitive to sugar and gluten. So we're just gonna keep it light for him. He's still gonna have the salad and the chicken, but I'm not gonna bread it. I'm gonna bake this at 425 for about 15 minutes in my Typhur oven, but if you're using a regular oven, you could do 450 for 15 to 20 minutes until it looks golden brown. I have to keep an eye on it when it's in the toaster oven because it actually cooks pretty fast. So if it's starting to develop lots of color and you still have some more cooking time to go, I just turn the temperature down.
Stick this last one in there. This might make a little bit of a mess. We're just gonna go with it.
So fancy.
Clean it out later. That crisp. Wow. Looks so good. Bless you. Okay, now we get to drizzle the sauce.
Here is the finished product. It looks beautiful, and also I want to tell you guys how much I'm loving these bowls. They're like a mix between a plate and a bowl, and I love them so much. They're perfect for so many meals, and I wish I had more of them, so I am going to buy more. So I'm going to link those in the description.
All right, well, we did make a big mess of my kitchen. I'm sure there are better ways to cook it. Like, I probably could have just used a sheet pan with one of those racks on it, which I do have. I have one of those little racks that you put on top of a sheet pan. I think just having it on a rack is nice. All right, finally, we get to eat. I'm like, what should I grab first? Chicken, like everything? Let's see if we can get everything in one bite. Wow. So good. So much flavor. I love the sauce. I want more of it. Thank you so much to Tony for sharing this recipe with me. If any of you have a recipe that you want me to try, feel free to send me a message or leave a comment. I do look at those and I get excited to try new things. So this was a fun one, and now it's time for us to eat. Just look at that. Beautiful.
Dinner was lovely, especially after such a long day. And as usual, I like to end my day with a hot cup of tea. And if I have a sweet tooth, which is almost every night, I add in some chocolate chips because we always have chocolate chips. And I have those together. I like to sit on the couch, cozy up, have my treat, have my tea, and that's it for today.